Let's start by opening our project, and we'll begin by taking all of the pieces and separating them into piles according to colors that we'll paint them. Once you have all your pieces separated according to the colors, then we'll begin painting the frame first. We like to paint it first since it is the bigger piece and it'll allow it to dry while you paint the smaller pieces. And so we'll begin with the larger piece and we will just simply paint it all white, and I use the sponge brush. You can use the makeup sponges or whatever you would like to use. You'll see me, I dip it into the paintbrush into the water just to get the brush a little bit damp. It helps the paint glide on, and you can do this or you can choose not to. So we'll just paint that all white and then we'll move on to the other pieces. Once the larger frame piece is completed, then we'll move on to the smaller square inserts. These will also be painted white. Now that all of our white pieces are completed, we're going to want to wash out our sponge brush and wipe that with the wet wipe and do the best you can with getting that sponge brush cleaned. We don't mind a little bit of the white paint left in the brush because it's just going to give us a little bit more of a worn or distressed look when we apply the brown paint to the other frame pieces. Now that we have our brush somewhat cleaned up, we'll move on to the other frame pieces using the dark brown paint and paint those two remaining pieces. So this is where I like to call starting the fun part. We get to use some colors with all of our detail pieces. So in order to do these detail pieces, a little trick to do is get some painter's tape and turn it sticky side up and use it to hold all of your pieces down. This just helps so that you don't have to hold them and paint them at the same time. And also, whenever you go to take these pieces off, be sure to roll that tape in a sense off of your pieces instead of just yanking or pulling. These pieces are delicate and they will break. If they do happen to break, just lay them down with all of your black pieces, since that's what we had the most of. Once we get to the part of gluing, the black, and then I just use the makeup sponge to apply that by pouncing that paint on. This is what's going to help that paint from going down the sides. We don't like it when the paint goes down the sides because things just don't tend to fit the way that they should or look as nice. So that's what I used here, was just the makeup sponge. If you get a little bit too much paint on your sponge or brush, just make sure you offload it a little bit. That's what you see me do there on the paper, is I just offload a little bit of that paint so it gives me a little bit more control over how much paint is applied to the pieces. So while those pieces were still in front of me and on the tape, I just grabbed the detail brush and painted those two leaves on the Fall Sweet Fall while they were there on the tape. And I just used the yellow and the red for those. So we'll just continue the same process using that painter's tape to hold those small pieces down as we move through the different colors of paints. And I just continue to use that blue detail brush on the remaining pieces, and you'll see me pounce that on there a little bit more than I would glide it. This just helps not to get that paint down the sides. Well, it's time to assemble. So let's take these pieces and be sure and roll that tape again so that we try not to get those little pieces broken. So we're just going to use the glue and apply some glue to the backside, and you can see the score marks on right where to place those. And so we'll just place those right where they're supposed to be using that glue. So now that the frame is good and dry, we're going to go ahead and get it assembled. We're going to start with the back piece, the easel part of it. And you'll see here that I'm going to use some glue on the piece that has the two holes in it. And what you're going to want to do here is kind of give an eyeball measure, use the guide of the easel part. You want that to be flush with the bottom of your frame or close to it. And then you're going to glue that down. And then you have the two pieces that have circles in them. You're going to want to do one piece at a time. So put one piece in with some glue and then use the easel part, put it in, and then the remaining last piece. If you do this two circles and then try to put that easel in there, you're going to have a tougher time. So be sure to do one circle piece at a time.